Alright, this is just a quick demo video on how to put together the foldables. The idea came from Ed Major's Math 10-3 Moodle site. And so this is just a repeat video. If you need more details, you can certainly visit his site as well. I've just taken the template that was on the 10-3 site and modified it for 20-3. So the foldable I'm going to put together today is for Unit 2 Slopes and Lines. However, how we put this one together, it's very similar for all of the other units as well. So this is the foldable and we're going to put it together. So when you open up the file, what you're going to notice is that there are two 8.5 by 11 sheets and two 11 by 17 sheets. And the template is already set up to print those exact pages. If you want to do any modifications, you can certainly go in and do that. So when you print, like I said, you're going to get the two big sheets and the two smaller sheets. The first thing you want to do is double side them. And one tip that was on the 10-3 site was to actually photocopy them upside down, because sometimes when you print, depending on your copier, there may be a slight page shift, and so you can try that out. Alright, so once you've printed your sheets, double-sided them, you'll have your two-sided 11 by 17, and then you're going to have your 8.5 by 11. Now I've already cut these pieces. What you'll notice is that I like to two-tone my foldable, so that when I unfold the foldable, the bigger piece is colored and the other piece is white. It just makes it a little easier for the students to decipher the sections when they're working with their foldables. I like to color code my units, so this unit's yellow, another one might be blue, and so on. So getting ready for the students, I will have the yellow sheets printed out, and I will already have the 8.5 by 11 sheets cut. It's just a little bit easier, and because it's so important to make sure that these are cut exactly halfway, I like to have that done in advance. So all of the students are going to get their two white sheets and their yellow sheet. So let's start with the folding. What we do is I start off with the sheet by showing the students where the cover is going to be. Then the first thing we do is we do a V-fold. Some people will call it a hamburger fold. And it's very important that you make sure your papers are lined up carefully. If they're too off center or they're not folded evenly, it does affect the foldable later on. So crease your paper, and then you're going to fold back the flaps. You're basically making an M fold, so after everything's folded, your paper is going to make an M shape. So it looks like a brochure right now. If I were to unfold it, you'll see that it makes an M. Okay. All right, the next step is to cut. What you'll notice on your paper is that there are some dotted lines. So what you want to do is you want to cut along those dotted lines. Make sure when you're cutting that that middle section is together. Okay, but they're not cutting the bottom flap. Okay, so you're going to cut along the dotted lines. Make sure you cut along the lines as closely as you can, because again, it's important that things are cut on the lines and folded on the lines so that all the papers fit in properly later. Okay, so we're just cutting these lines. Also important to make sure you cut right to the end. Students who don't necessarily cut right to the end of that crease or right up to the crease will find that their pages won't fit later. So after it's cut, you can unfold, and you're going to have these little open sections. The last part is to weave in your white pages. And this part is a little tricky at first, just till you figure out which way the papers go in. But one side will always start over under, and the other side will always start under over. It may vary depending on how your pages were printed. Starting with the Pythagorean theorem section, I want Pythagorean theorem to be the first part of my section when I open up my booklet. So I want the section that says all right triangles to be visible in the next section. So in this case, I'm going to go under over. And so I'm just going to weave that in, and my page sits in there evenly. The first page goes in quite nicely. It's the second one that's a little bit of a tighter fit. So the next one here, I'm actually going to cover up slope because I want this section to be tangent ratio. So this one started under over, so this one's going to go over under. And as you're putting the paper in, your students will likely notice that some things are getting covered up, and sometimes that leads to a little bit of panic, but everything works out in the end. So it's all right if you're covering things up. The magic comes when we unfold it. Okay, so you get your paper in there. So you've got weaving on the front, and if I were to flip it to the back, you've got some paper weaved in the back as well. Okay, like I said before, the magic comes when we actually unfold this. So you're gonna fold it together, kind of crease it down on both sides just to flatten your paper a bit, and then you unfold the foldable. So you've got your first section, and what you'll notice is your middle section actually unfolds, and so on, and then the back unfolds as well. So in the end, you're gonna have 6 sections to your foldable. And that's how you put together a foldable. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. And once you get comfortable with them, try modifying them and just having fun with it. Thanks a lot.